Panic attack is something that happens to us when we feel like we're totally losing control. And it happens on a number of different levels. It happens physically, so your heart will be pounding, you probably have shallow breath, you'll feel really anxious, you'll feel frightened, you might be sweating, might be breathing quite fast, and your thoughts are going to be really super, kind of going at you like this is awful, something physical is going to happen, you're going to faint, you're going to die. It can feel really, really terrible. Now, why do we have panic attacks? Really, it's the big secret is it's kind of something that we do ourselves, to ourselves. We work ourselves up and we start to get frightened of stuff, and we get so scared that we start to overrate all of the things that are going on around us. So for example, we might have a flutter in our chest and then we think this must be a heart attack. Or we start to breathe kind of shallowly and we think, oh my gosh, I'm going to faint while I'm on the bus. And those thoughts rack us up and make us really, really anxious. One of the first things you have to think about is your physical state. So are you having too much caffeine, for example? Is your blood sugar low? Have you eaten recently? Sometimes we forget some basic physical decisions that we make that can make us vulnerable to a panic attack. Certain drugs can induce them. Hangovers from alcohol can induce them. So whenever you're in a vulnerable state, you're more likely to have them. The key to creating your own panic attack is when you overestimate how bad something is going to be and you underestimate how much you can cope with that. So think that for a second, yeah? I'm thinking this is going to be much worse than it is and I'm not going to be able to cope with that. That's really what causes the panic attack. And what you need to do is reverse that thing, which is it's actually not so bad after all, and I can cope with whatever comes to me. Lots of places where you can be vulnerable to panic attacks is where you feel that you're exposed and vulnerable to other people looking at you. So lots of people are scared that they're going to panic in front of people, and that's a big part of it. So this can happen on the bus, this can happen on the cinema, out in the street. Often when there are expectations, say maybe you have to do a presentation in class, or you have to speak to someone that you're a little bit nervous of, then you start to do this thing that we call catastrophizing. You imagine the thing that's going to happen and you imagine it's going to be a total catastrophe. So you get really scared, you work yourself up, and you go into panic attack.